afternoon. Good afternoon, Caroline. Hello, my name is Robert McCarg. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Achieve More Scotland. Achieve More is, I would have a couple of weeks ago said a Glasgow-based charity, but now expanding and becoming more of a West of Scotland charity, delivering sport and physical activity as a tool for engaging young people. And the hope is that we will take many of them on a journey that will lead to improved opportunities in their life, for jobs, for education, for fitness, for health, better opportunities within the community and the likes. A lot of the work that we do relies on a number of partners to support us, and these partners support us in a number of different ways, and we have decided to run a series of podcasts where we bring some of these partners along to find out a wee bit more about them personally, about their job roles, about their involvement with Achieve More, things they like about the charity, any other charity involvement they might have, and anything else that comes up in discussion. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest. It's Caroline Fontana. Caroline works out of the Nike store in Strathkelvin, or in Common Speak Bishop Briggs, and has been involved in working and supporting the work of Achieve More for, say, 18 months or so.
Yeah, just about, I say, yeah. It feels like it's been a long time, well, my whole life sometimes. But no, it's definitely, about that time.
And I know you mean that in a very positive
I
way.
do, I definitely do.
So, we are very interested in the people who support us. As you and I spoke in the way over here before we went on mic, that my belief is that our supporters offer much more than just writing blank cheques. It's about the additionality that they offer. It's about championing the work that we do, and the enthusiasm that you show certainly has meant that many more people from Nike have got involved, have got interested, and they want to do more with us. And again, I think we'll come on to that as we go through. So let's find out about Caroline. Okay. Tell us a wee bit about yourself, your background, anything that you want to share with us. Let me guess, you're not from Glasgow.
No, I'm not. It's not a pretend accent. I've had it my whole life. So originally from the south of England. So it's a little, like in the New Forest, so it's right on the coast, a little town called Hythe is where I'm from. The nearest town would be Southampton or Bournemouth, so they'd be the nearest biggest towns. New Forest, brilliant place to grow up, lots of outside space, horses, wild horses around. I actually took a friend from Scotland recently down there, and she couldn't believe that we've got wild horses that aren't caged or fenced or anywhere, and they're just roaming around free. So it's definitely a very different cultural kind of side of it, I suppose. And then lived in London for 8-9 years, and then lived in America for 3 as well. So it's been, maybe some of my accent is slightly mixed sometimes, but that's where I'm from originally.
Fair enough. So tell us about growing up. What were your interests, your hobbies, your passions?
So sport has always been a big part of my life, and it was through school. So that's how I got interested and involved into sport. Big side of it was obviously being like a team player, and like netball was always a big thing. Cross country, which I learnt to love in a weird way. Something that I didn't to begin with. So I learnt to actually ski on a dry slope when I was 7. So it was like a big toothbrush effectively to ski on, which was in a local kind of facility that was, my parents would take the time and taking us up there on a Thursday evening. I remember it very clearly. But sport's kind of always been a big part of what I did, so whether it be at school, after school clubs as well, but having everything, like as it might sound, nature, you're right by the sea as well, and you've got the forest, so a lot of it was, as cliche as it might sound, you were out in the forest, you were outside. So a lot of you're on bikes, you're on roller skates, you were always outside, and it was one of those things where your mum would go, oh, you need to be back for 5 o'clock for your dinner, and you'd be out every minute till. So that's kind of how I grew up, in a very outdoorsy kind of environment. So that was that was my kind of childhood, and with that.
And it's quite interesting, you talk about being outdoorsy and all the things, and that I mean, you talk about, being told the sort of deadline to be home for tea and things. I really equate that with the sort of 60s and 70s, and something that's died out in certain parts of the country, where kids are sitting in computers or watching telly and just not getting out there and blowing off steam?
I've got a younger brother, so he's 4 years younger than me, so it was kind of that for him growing up to a certain extent. My grandparents played a huge part in my life when I was younger, so they had quite a big garden, so we were able to just run around and sometimes not feral, but we were just covered in mud and we played. That was what it was about. But my brother definitely kind of grew up a bit more. He's still into it now, into his games and that kind of side of it, so that was probably where it was different for both of us, even though we're not that far apart.
You mentioned your parents. Do you feel that they were a real driving force behind you being the sporty person that you were growing up?
Definitely, in terms of part of it was school, I believe, in terms of that was I had an interest in it, and I enjoyed it, so it was something that I wanted to do, but my parents made sure that I was able to go and facilitated me going. Spoke about, again, my grandparents, us being outside, it was always about having fun and playing as children and using your imagination, and that probably has been built into me from a young age, so that I think did help me fall in love with sport unknowingly, I presume.
And I think we will come on to it a bit more, but I would guess that sort of drives your passion for what you do within your current role and what you would like to do within your current role, and why you like the work that Achieve More does.
Definitely.
Okay. So you grew up in the New Forest, you then moved to London. Tell us about that. Was that education? Was that work?
So it was with a job. So I did find love there, but it was through work. So I was offered a job, and I kind of didn't tell my parents I was going for the interview because part of me was a bit worried that I wouldn't get it, being completely honest. So I had to go through a couple of assessment days, and it was the first time I'd ever been through anything like that. So I not felt alone, but it was kind of my thing to do and to be proud of. And I ended up getting the position, and I had to move to London, and I remember telling my parents, and I had about 3-4 weeks to move, and I was going on holiday for a week, and my dad is very outgoing, very seize a moment. My mum's a more cautious one. So she was, saying about, oh, what about this? And my dad was like, go. So I think they've been quite a good balance to me in certain things, and had the opportunity to go. I got in touch with the organisation that I worked with and said, has anybody else been given like a similar opportunity that's moving? And they got me in touch with somebody that was moving too. So I ended up picking up the phone to her and saying, did you want to live together? Because we're both in the same situation. I promise you I'm not strange. And just if she wanted to, have somebody that was going through the similar thing. And we ended up becoming really good friends. We're still friends now, and went through that journey together in London. And that obviously took me on to different parts within my career as well. And London's where I met my husband.
Yeah,
so.
We'll come back to that because there's an interesting story there as well. So tell us a wee bit about that job. Was it sports related?
No, so it was through John Lewis, through Waitrose that I worked with. And that kind of taught me, I did a lot of like management and coaching, and in terms of like people skills and how to be a manager to a certain extent. But also a big thing for me was I learned examples of people that really stood out and that I respected, and other people. I've never been a confrontational person, that's not me, but certain things and traits of people that I didn't want. So that was a big learning curve, and some people along my career it's within Waitrose and John Lewis that people have pushed me to be in situations where I didn't necessarily think I was comfortable or able to do, but by being in them, it's now helped me throughout my career and later life, and pushed me out of my comfort zone for that. So entirely grateful for that as well.
And isn't it always nice to be challenged in life?
Yeah, sometimes not too much. Yeah, no, it is.
So in London, you've come from a very, very sporty background.
Yeah.
You've come a massive metropolis. You know one person who you ended up sharing a flat with before you met your husband. Did you get involved in sport, or did you see sport as a way of getting to know people when you moved there? Yeah,
so through work, that's probably where you meet most of your friends. So my maid of honour I met through work, and then became friends with her friends as well, and that's kind of how our group started, and they were my bridesmaids at my wedding. And that was stuff that we would either go to the gym, still obviously had the social side of going for dinner and stuff as well, but it was definitely something that you've always got it. It's always there. you can then always connect with people. You don't have to know anybody necessarily to go to the gym or to join a club. So you've already got something in common with one another, which I think is important. And actually it was through running that then I've now, my best friend Lindsay, she's done a couple of half marathons, and I got my brother into running as well. And it's just stuff I think that has definitely been able to keep me sane sometimes when it's been away from home and being 18. And I think I could do it and I was all right. But there's certain times where you do miss home, and you miss that. Absolutely. You miss your mum and dad and your brother and your comfort zone. And it was a big thing of not wanting to fail as well. So that was a big thing for me. So it was just throwing myself into anything I could.
I also think it's the type of personality you are is the sort of thing, the sort of personality, if I could bottle it and give it to young people, I'd say, it's that can-do, positive attitude, and taking risks, not knowing what life's going to throw at you, but I'm up for a challenge, and I really admire that in you. And as I say, if it's something I could bottle and share it with the kids who come to our services, then I really would. 18.
Taking a bit of time.
Aye,
I think sometimes.
You were 18 and
yeah.
You moved and you went to the big bad smoke.
Yeah, and I think it was definitely something that I always wanted a little bit more. I wanted to do something a bit different. I wanted to challenge myself, and it was not to just prove to other people, but it was to myself that I could do it, I think. So that was definitely what pushed me to do it.
So from John Lewis Waitrose, where did you go from there?
So I then was with a sporting company that I was with for a long time, and that was like a specialist sports retailer. And part of my job was obviously facilitating run clubs as well. So that was an incredible thing to be part of. So we did 3 runs a week, mixed abilities. The stories and the people that I met that couldn't run, we did like a walk for a minute kind of sessions to build them up to 5k. I remember one gentleman, his name was Paul, he was 80, came and started running with us. He brought his wife, and it was just then the family aspect and the culture that sport can unite everybody kind of was really embedded in me then, I think. So that was definitely probably a moment within sport, and athletics has always been a big interest, but being physically involved within the community, within running and sharing stories and getting to know one another. And then my friendship group, I'm not old, but then I've people that were, in their 50s, 60s, I'm then going out for dinner with and sharing stories, and they're very dear friends to me now as well. So that was a big part of me probably learning what I was interested in and what I had a passion for, the people side of it.
Good stuff. And the whole running side of things then became professional and personal for you.
True. I should say, well, yeah, I'm a jogger. I'm not a runner. I probably shouldn't class myself as that. But that's through that company and through running. That's where I obviously met my husband. He is an absolute phenomenal human being, not just even a runner. And his drive to be the best version of himself and his passion for running and his grit, his pure grit, is something that has inspired me and kind of rules our life now. In terms of where it's taken us and the decisions we make just day to day, or where we can go out for dinner, or where we go on holiday, or what times we can go on holiday, has been a big part of it. And obviously moving to America was through that. So that's where I met him. It was in actually Teddington where we met. So that place has always got a special spot for both of us.
If you don't mind, we probably won't speak a lot about Sean, because he is someone that I would like to be sitting with you sitting sometime in the future, because I've heard him on other podcasts, and again, he is one of these guys where you go, wow. And again, what he's got, if I could bottle it and share it with some of the young people, because he is Scottish, he's a Glasgow lad.
Yeah, incredibly proud to be Scottish, and he grew up here. He's from Drumchapel, and a lot of I think as well with Achieve More, a lot of the kids that we meet and the people within the areas that we're meeting, that was him. So that is also why it plays a big part of in me caring so much as well.
It's a great story, and we'll save that for another day. So, again, I'm privileged to know a wee bit more about you than perhaps has been shared so far. I've shared with you. I don't class myself as a runner either, but I need to say the great Bill Boorman says, if you have a body, You're an athlete. And you know, so you're not just a jogger.
No, I am an athlete.
And I think we're all athletes, and that's what we want to encourage people to be active and be an athlete. So I know a wee bit about your involvement with the London Marathon. Can you say a wee bit more about that?
Of course. So I had the privilege of being on the team that helped organise and facilitate part of that too. Absolutely incredible experience in terms of what I learnt, in terms of I never knew I could probably be so tired in terms of the date back to back, the hours that you do, but the energy, the amount of people that I've met, their stories, why they've got into running, how sports changed their lives, how sport has facilitated them getting through some form of grievance, how you've got kids that are running for younger, for older. It's just an incredible atmosphere to be around, and it was something that the London, again, we'll always the London Marathon will hold a special place in my heart because to be part of it, but you don't see what goes on behind the scenes of it. So you show up as a a participant or as a spectator, and you've got people that are building scaffolding and people trying to reverse lorries in and you've got thousands and thousands of bags everywhere, and the people that work with that London Marathon have that grit too that athletes have. So that is something that I was, again, absolutely love doing, and it's just amazing to see it, and especially the elite athletes that you get to see and to that go to these events as well was unbelievable. So that was definitely a very cool moment in certain things that I've done.
Very, very jealous of you having met some of the elite athletes, because guys like Kipchoge are
absolute hero. Yeah, me too.
Heroes. So any plans to maybe be on the other side on the streets, pounding the streets?
So I've never done a
London?
full marathon. I've seen, in terms of what I've learned, we did like biomechanics and all that kind of stuff as well, and taping and massage, and I had the privilege of being able to do these kind of things as well within my life. But being able to give advice through it, sometimes when you know what can happen along the way, I think sometimes I've always been the person that's probably quite good at helping and facilitating others. So I haven't had the guts to do it yet, but you'll be the first person I tell.
But you have been fairly busy in recent months with your activity. You've told me about a few events that you've been involved in. Say a wee bit more about them.
Yeah, so within Nike, we got to go and participate in Hood to Coast. So it was over in Amsterdam, and it was a relay, and we got to go over there, and we were in a group of, there was 10 of us. We had 2 drivers and runners, and that I've done runs myself, but to be part of something that was bigger, that your team was relying on you, and I signed up for a team that I didn't know anybody.
Really?
So I didn't know anybody, and you're sharing a car with these people, you're deprived of sleep, you're deprived of food, and we all work for the same company that we love. So that was an amazing thing to be part of. And my third leg was brutal. It was uphill in 30-degree heat. It was a straight road, so that mental side of it too. But absolutely incredible amount of pride I felt achieving that. But the people that I've met, again, I still speak to now. So that's especially sometimes when you're thinking about, I'm not going to go out today, or I'm not going to do that. Sometimes they're the people that give you that little bit of a nudge and push to go to.
Brilliant. So tell us about your role within Nike, or roles, I think, to be more precise.
So within Nike, the culture is, obviously we have athlete and coaches, so we don't have management and staff. That's of who we are with what we do. So I'm one of the coaches there, and that is just obviously facilitating our day-to-day stuff. And of the community program that Nike runs is all about helping kids get involved into sport, and about what it is it's us volunteering our time. That's what it's about. So I found out about this whilst joining Nike, and automatically thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing, this is incredible. How is this organisation allowing us to go out and volunteer and be part of something that's bigger than a store? So that was something that I fell in love with very, very quickly, and thought, hold on a minute, I can make a difference with this, and I can do something. And that, again, part of a passion that I've always been in my life is helping others, and it gives you a great sense of fulfillment for me, and that means more to me than anything, and seeing others succeed. So that was definitely a big thing that I thought, wow, this is amazing.
Yes, I mean, again, for a global organisation like that to see beyond making money is incredible. And I suppose that brings us fairly naturally on to the relationship between Nike and Achieve More.
Yeah.
How did you find out about Achieve More?
So one of my colleagues, Darren, that I work with, is an absolute inspiration also. I'm very lucky to work with some incredible, inspiring people, and have met some amazing people along the way too. He kind of said to me a little bit about what Achieve More does and where they're based, and I automatically was, how can I get involved with them? What can I do? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to speak to? And then obviously I got to meet you that day and absolutely fell in love with the company, what Achieve More does, what you're trying to achieve.
I think there was a few tears.
I know, yeah. There probably might even be now, but in terms of what they're trying to do and what you're trying to do is just, you can't put it into words.
It's lovely to hear. So share with us. I mean, I obviously know what you contribute. You, Nike, the other guys involved. Share with those who are listening the sort of things that the Nike have been involved in with Achieve
Yeah, of
More.
course. So we get to go and volunteer our time, and the big thing for us is getting kids active. Kids are made to play, and that's something that Nike sees and recognises as being important, especially kids between age 7 and 12. In terms of the statistics of when life expectancy has gone backwards, and the amount of kids that don't participate in the minimum required amount of sport, and the participation in girls, they're dropping out of sport, and all these kind of things, it hit home as well to me, and that is a big part of my love for the brand and sharing passion for sport, but how we could then collaborate that within Achieve More as well. So we, and not just myself, obviously I do it as well, but we get to go out and we get to spend time having fun with the younger generation. We get to go out, and that's every store, and we get to help with the Easter camps, the holiday camps, the summer camps, to help with the coaching, to be role models, to be mentors. I've been very privileged to have been such a big part of the Empower Me programme, and again, the young people I've met are just true inspiration.
It's really amazing to hear that, and I know you're very sincere in saying that. And I think some of the other things that Nike contribute are regularly making available discount cards so that we can purchase lots of equipment when it's coming to holiday camps. There's the collections of old uniforms and kit and the likes that come from across the UK that then we can give out to participants, again, not just at camps but a range of our activities. And these things can't be underestimated. The power of being able to wear that brand and feel that brand and have that brand on your feet, and why when we started the charity almost 11 years ago, we made a conscious decision at the time that all our kit would be Nike, because it was global, and we wanted people to see that we were serious about what we did rather than going for cheap kit.
Power of the swoosh.
Power of the swoosh, and you can't underestimate it. And I think it was very much, again, for us about seeing beyond. This is a global brand that sells millions and millions of pounds worth of running shoes and apparel and the likes. There was a design to move, a movement that I was very, very aware of, and very much saw the philosophy fitting, and I think we've talked about
definitely
how there is that fit. Yeah,
in terms of what Nike, again, you've seen the adverts and campaigns. Nike does an incredible job in reaching all aspects of the community, and that again, I've been able to share some of the adverts with the Empower Me girls and all that stuff too, and that in terms of everybody's inclusive of sport, that if you, as you've already said, if you have a body, you're an athlete. The power of sport, using the power of sport to unite and making it accessible to all, that side of what Nike's wanting, and that power that the brand brings to every individual, no matter the age, is phenomenal. And that is, I believe, with what Achieve More is wanting, and creating that platform and doing all these kind of things as well. It kind of links in with what's Nike's vision is as well, with and our culture. Yeah,
I very much agree with that. Sticking on the subject of Achieve More and the relationship with Nike, are there things that you would like to see the charity do more of, or are there new things that you think that we could do that would again fit with the sort of the wider agenda of Nike, or would benefit the participants? Or?
I definitely think, again, well, speaking from my personal view, the Empower Me side of reaching young girls, that is a big thing. And being female myself, it's an area of having that point of resource, having that trust issue as well, with having that element within inside of that, and just using the power of sport to unite. That meeting with the girls, that side of the sports that they want to get involved in, that they haven't had the opportunity to try, and that's where we can facilitate, and that's what you're doing. And that's something I could not shout from the heavens enough about how amazing that is. Big thing, I think, as well, is getting parents and guardians and that involved as well within the how sport positively impacts and changes lives. That is a big thing. Sometimes
I think you undersell what Nike contributes to the charity as well. I mean, 200 sports bras made available to in different sizes and the like, and you and some of the staff come along and then having a great night with the girls and fitting them and having some pizza and a good laugh and showing the videos.
It was amazing, and that is obviously down to the work that I know that Kira and everybody that applied for that, it's just using the resources that we have to kind of share that information, because I know you applied for that grant through that Nike kind of was sharing as well, and that was amazing to be able to be part of that also. Big thing for me is I love my job. I love it. I love the brand. I love what we stand for, and I'm very, very proud to work for Nike, and that incorporates me being able to go and volunteer and be very proud for the stuff that Achieve More does too. So that is both of them incredibly close to my heart, and to be able to merge two I feel very lucky to be able to do that.
And next on the agenda, Sunday night.
I know. So that's definitely something I'm incredibly excited about. So we've got the community night in the city centre store, that obviously you've put together, and we're kind of facilitating the space and bringing volunteers for you. But again, I think everybody needs help, no matter your age. But I definitely think the younger generation, sometimes, as we spoke about a lot, role models and people to look up to, and just sometimes to have a chat. Just to then, that community night will hopefully facilitate. Also, we're obviously having people to, like with CVs and interview techniques and having fun. That's a big part of it too. In terms of bringing make sport a daily habit is a big part of what we do. So it's bringing that to the evening too, and just making it a space where everybody and the community can come together. So I'm excited, and I'm proud that we've been able to do it.
No, I'm very incredulous and proud that again, this global brand has opened its doors, literally opened the doors and said, here you go, here's a space, take it over for a couple of hours, bring young people in, and we'll do this, we'll do that. And we are very much doing it in partnership. Again, you talk about what we're doing. I think it's the partnership, the staff from Nike that they're going to stay behind after work, get it set up, provide DJ and
definitely. I think that's one thing we're very lucky, and you've met a lot of our team and our staff, that it's a certain type of person that works for Nike. People, and again, it links into you're meeting these young people within Achieve More, and they've got the same kind of like leadership skills and all that, and that kind of ideas as well. So it's incredible to see that we're seeing that within Achieve More as well, and we had them come and work with us as well, which was incredible. So I definitely think that's our team are incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So moving on a bit, in terms of your sort of professional development within the organisation, where do you see yourself going? What would you like to see?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think I'd like to be the best version of myself in any role that I do. So I probably, being completely honest, wouldn't know I don't have the job title. So that would be, I don't know what that is just yet, but I will continue to work hard and do what I can, and the community side of stuff and sharing our love for sport and passion for the brand is something that I will champion for the rest of my days. So some of the people that I work with say the word relentless is sometimes used, but it's in terms of trying to make a change, and it's bringing people along with me. It's doing it as a team. It's not just for myself. It's for how we can then make things better for people. So I don't know how just quite yet where that path goes, but hopefully I want to just do myself proud and make a difference.
So we're getting towards the end. Personal goals.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to run that London Marathon?
Oh, I know it's going to be then on the record forever. I would definitely love to do a marathon. I don't know which one it would be, but that would be something I'd like to set now. But doing a team event, that's what I really enjoyed. So some form of relay, I think, might be what would be suited to me a bit better. Personally, and my husband would always say that I don't run enough, but I think that doing it as being part of a team, that's what motivates me as well to do a bit more. So I think probably like a relay. I never know, I might sign you up.
Never know. As long as I can keep fit and trouble. Last word should go to you. Any thoughts on any issues, anything that you would like to say just to conclude?
Firstly, thank you very much for having me to talk, but big thing for me is sharing the amazing work that you do. It's nice to be able to speak about myself, but to use an opportunity to speak to others and go out and help, go out and get involved, go out and volunteer, go out and do more is a big thing, and speak to one another, and the volunteer program that you have, and you know the young people that we work with are incredible. So never underestimate who you're talking to. And that's one of the things, the people that we work with, they could be the next Prime Minister, you never know. So for me, don't set the bar is a big thing. And one of Nike's Dream Crazy, that's kind of stayed with me. So that's something that I hope to take forward, and if everybody does a little bit more, I think the world would be a little bit of a better place.
I think you're right, just in terms of getting out there and doing your best, as Nike would say, just do it.
Yeah.
I've been very supportive and very kind in some of the messages you've sent to me, and it makes me appreciate that there are people out there who are thinking about me as well. But most importantly, you believe in the charity, you believe in the young people, and you believe in the young staff that we've got.
Definitely. Well, as you say, they're our future. Absolutely. So we need to do what we can.
Thank you very much, Caroline.
Thank you for having me.